WRTV Investigates has uncovered Central Indiana colleges and universities are sitting on millions of dollars meant to help students impacted by the pandemic.
WRTV Investigates Kara Kenny. She partnered with Newsy and found out why some schools are holding back those dollars.
Colleges and their students throughout Central Indiana are getting a piece of a $7 billion emergency student aid package that was approved by Congress as part of the CARES Act. For example, IUPUI received $10 million and distributed all of it to its students. But at some schools, the money is still sitting in the bank. Students at IU Bloomington are back on campus for the first time since the pandemic began. More than 8,000 students have already received a chunk of the $12 million in emergency federal aid IU Bloomington received.
Our goal was to get the money out as soon as possible, and we did that.
Money from the federal government meant to quickly help students get laptops, internet, and housing.
A lot of the students when going online, needed other things, other technologies. Or they just, finding living expenses or where they're going to live, or they had to go home, just the expenses they needed to continuing their studies. And, that's why we wanted to get it out, especially as fast as we could before the end of the semester.
The grants range from a few hundred to a few $1,000s. Ivy Tech student Valerie Famayua got $4,000, which helped her get a new computer to do online coursework.
It helped me with my children, with everything in the house. It was a really big help.
Universities and colleges are required to publicly report how they've spent CARES Act grant money for students. WRTV Investigates and Newsy analyzed those disclosure forms. We found many schools like IU, Butler, Ball State, and DePauw have distributed nearly every last dollar to students. But we discovered other schools still have aid money in the bank. Ivy Tech still has $5 million left to disperse to students. Franklin College has a good chunk still left to distribute, $300,000 still in the bank. And Purdue University still has nearly $10 million left to distribute, nearly all of the student financial aid it received.
It makes you wonder, are there people who really would have been helped who didn't get the necessary support from their schools?
So what's the holdup? Some institutions are using an application process, which can slow things down. Also, schools have a year to spend the emergency aid, and some are saving money for students who might need it in the future.
They're really trying to do this very, very carefully because they don't know how this situation is going to develop. And we've already seen just in the past few days, a number of universities that tried to reopen are now shutting back down already. And I think we're going to see a lot of this kind of start and stop.
Purdue and Franklin College declined to speak with us on camera. Purdue told us they set aside some money to handle expected student needs this summer and fall. The fall application will be available beginning August 24th, and the awarding of the fall funds will begin then. We do plan to distribute the remainder soon. Franklin College told us they intentionally developed a policy that would hold some funds in reserve to serve the needs of students in the current academic year, anticipating that the COVID-19 crisis would still be in progress and perhaps even worse. So for some Central Indiana college students, they will have to wait a little longer for help.
It's not very surprising to me that we might see a sort of a range of approaches. So universities are really trying to stretch and meet all of these needs as best as they can.
Universities can decide exactly how much money each student receives. In addition to housing and technology, students can also spend the money on things like health care and child care. Working for you, Kara Kenny, WRTV.
Kara, thank you so much. Ivy Tech still has $5 million left to distribute and told us the college chose to distribute funds using two methods to ensure that we could reach the maximum number of students while addressing varying impacts to individuals. To read full responses from Ivy Tech, Purdue, and Franklin College, you can go to this story right now on the WRTV app. Now,